Music is a massive enjoyment factor in a lot of different forms of media. In Bleach Brave Souls specifically, it's something that we listen to every time we're playing the game. Whether you're playing Guild Quest, you're chilling on the home screen, you're playing Arena, music will be there in the background, unless you have your phone muted, which you shouldn't. BBS has a lot of great music, and for today's video, we're here to rank majority, 90% of the music in the game. We have multiple tiers ranging from S tier to the best of the best, the music that you always have playing, music that you always have on repeat. And then of course we have the A, B, C, and D tier. D tier being for the songs and OSTs that I don't really think is that memorable, and I'm also just there to give me some background noise. Now, to help me with the rankings, I have gone ahead and got my friend James. While he's not here in this particular video, he was there when we came across the ranking, and his opinion did mix with mine, and we tried to find a good balance, but I think we did find a great balance. So before we do start the tier list or the ranking every OST in Bleach Brave Souls, I want you lads to join in on the fun too, and let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite OSTs in Bleach Brave Souls? For me, you're about to find out. Opening theme. So we're starting off with an absolute banger right from the get-go. This is the opening theme to Bleach Brave Souls. Whenever you start the game for the very first time, this is going to be the intro that you actually hear, and it's perfect. It perfectly matches the tone of Bleach, and it's a perfect introduction to the game Bleach Brave Souls. This opening, even 7 years later, is something that I constantly go back to and vibe with and have very fond memories of, because it's the start of Bleach Brave Souls, and because of that, it's an internet tier. Summer Clap. So this is the usual OST that you always hear during these summer type of banners. Whenever a new swimsuit banner happens every single year, this would be the song that they used to play quite a bit. In my opinion, it has a pretty good vibe to it. Caleb are known for being pretty good at dubstep type of music. This does have a pretty decent drop, and I never get bored of having it as my background music. It's not a song that I would go and listen to multiple times, but whenever it does get put into my background music, or whenever I do listen to it, it's not something that I'm really disappointed by. Creepy Pumpkin. This Halloween OST has been into the game since the basically first introduction of the Halloween banners in Bleach Brave Souls, and it could be nostalgia at play here, but I do have very fond times and memories of me listening to this song while playing Bleach Brave Souls. It never really annoyed me like some OSTs in this game do actually do, so because of that, I think it's quite a decent song. B tier. KARAKURA Heroes. The best way I can describe this song is Don Kanoji just having fun and being an absolute hero. This song does give off a lot of vibes of heroism, and because of that, I'm never really bored while listening to this song. But at the same time, it is kind of just a generic background song that really doesn't do anything too special, so because of that, it's a B tier. Love Greetings, White Day Remix. Now, I might get cancelled for saying this, but personally, I'm not really the biggest fan of that. It's an okay song, but it really doesn't do anything special for me. So because of that, it's a C tier. Vanishment. This is one of those songs that just plays during the game whenever you decide to hop into a certain quest. I'm not exactly sure where this does entirely play, and because of that, I don't really have fond memories of it, but it's an okay song. I don't dislike it, I don't really like it all too much, so because of that, C tier. Screaming Game. We're now getting into the songs that play during the TLA arc in the game at Bleach Brave Souls. Now in this case, Screaming Game doesn't, again, really do anything too special, but I do like the vibe of the song, and I do remember listening to it a few times a few years ago when it first got introduced into the game. I don't think it's anything too special, but if this occasionally does come onto the game, I don't really mind the OST. So in this case, I'm gonna just put it in the B tier. Dirty Monochrome. Now, due to the nature of the name, I'm gonna assume this is a song connected to someone like Jackie, and I'm a fan of Jackie. In this case though, I am not a fan of the song. I don't know what it is, but it just kind of hurts my ears. D tier. Doll Party. Now, as already mentioned at the start of the video, James also does have a say in where we rank these OSTs, and in this case, I like it. James also liked it. James is a massive Ruroka fan. He wanted it to be a tad bit higher, but personally, I do think it is a happy-go-lucky song. I like listening to it, and I don't really mind it as my background music when I am playing Bleach Brave Souls. So in that case, we went for a middle ground and decided to put it in A tier. Extra Stage. Now, personally, I was going to put this in D tier. The song itself is kind of all over the place, and I wouldn't really want to listen to this song more than a minute, but this song is connected to the fact that whenever you do hear it in Bleach Brave Souls, you are gifted with an extra stage that gives you more rewards. So because of that, whenever I do hear it, I just think of getting an extra stage and getting more rewards. So I'm going to not put it in D tier, I'm going to bump it up and put it in C tier. Opening theme. KSUKE remix. What happens when you take an acclaimed DJ artist like KSUKE himself and have him remix a perfect song that is the opening theme to Bleach Brave Souls? Well, you end up with a pretty banging tune, if I say so myself. Now, if you aren't a fan of something like dubstep, then this might not be your forte. It might not be something that you actually really much enjoy. In this case, I'm a fan of both the opening and also the remix itself, so because of that, it's an S tier. Festival Frolics. I am not a fan. D tier. Crystal Clear Waters. Not really sure where this song does play in-game, but I kind of like the vibe of it. It's not something that, again, I would listen to multiple times, but I think it's decent enough. C tier. The Crimson Swords. Our first introduction to the Thousand Year Blood War arc, both visually and auditorily. And because of that, I have good vibes to this. This is the first time we were ready for Thousand Year Blood War, and it did definitely get me excited. Later on, KLab did overuse this song quite a bit in my opinion, but I still think it's a great song and a great introduction to what the Thousand Year Blood War arc is, so because of that, S tier. Repose of Souls. This OST is pretty much just a very good standard background music of what you can come to expect in the game at Bleach Brave Souls. It doesn't again do anything too special, but it doesn't really distract you when you are playing the game, and that's what I kind of like about it. It blends in quite well. It doesn't distract you, but it doesn't get you overly hyped. So because of that, B tier. Seasons of Noel. Happy-go-lucky background music that also is connected to Christmas characters, and it gives a good vibe of what Christmas actually is. B tier. New Year Quest. This remix of an old OST is actually quite funny to listen to. Is it weird to say an OST is funny to listen to? I'm not too sure, but it does give off a good vibe. I don't really mind it when it is playing in the background, so because of that, I'm gonna just put in the bare minimum B tier. Doll Party Piano Solo. This is, again, once more a remix to the Doll Party song, which we did put quite high in A tier. In this case, I'm not really the biggest fan of it. It's quite slow. It is a sad song, and normally sad songs aren't too bad. In this case, though, I wasn't really much a fan of it. D tier. Disappear. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this particular OST, but it does give a decent vibe, so because of that, C tier. Cacao Fantasy. Cacao Fantasy is a really good introduction to what the Cacao Society banner is in general. It really does give off that fantasy kind of vibe, and personally, I'm a fan of it. I like listening to this, and if you just listen to it with your eyes closed, with no lights on, it sends you into another world with your imagination. So because of that, B tier. Cacao Castle. Another Cacao Society orientated OST. Personally, I think this just does the Cacao Society vibe worse than the last one we just talked about, so because of that, C tier. Striker. Quite a generic OST in terms of Bleach Brave Souls, but it does give off the vibe of Bleach Brave, so that kind of makes sense if a game can give off a vibe. I don't think it's that bad. It's okay to listen to. Not something I would listen to a lot, so because of that, I'm gonna just put it in C tier. Bamboo Groove. This is one of those quite generic OST songs, but hence the name Bamboo Groove. It does give off quite a groovy vibe. I don't really dislike listening to it, so because of that, C tier. Rising Gates. This is one of those very generic BBS songs. I do feel quite bad putting the place where I'm about to put it, but personally, I feel like just so many other songs do what this is trying to do significantly better, so because of that, D tier. Happy Birthday. Now, I'm not entirely sure where this song does play, but it is a remix of a song we all know of, Happy Birthday, that type of tune. I like birthdays. I don't think anyone really doesn't. Everyone's always to have a good time on their birthday. It gives a good vibe. B tier. BBS Special Onoken Mix. It's always a fun time when KLab go out the way to hire and commission artists to remix their songs. In this case, we have another remix by the musician Onoken. I personally like it. I'm a fan of the remix. A tier. Fueza. Hopefully I said that right. The 3rd anniversary OST with the introduction of the Beyond Resurrection Ulquiorra. This OST is quite frankly just really exciting to listen to. I love the start of it, I love the ending, the drop with the beat too. It's just really exciting in my opinion. So because of that, and of course because it is tied to an anniversary type event, it went really well with the trailer they did have set up with Ulquiorra. It's an instant S tier, lads. Another S tier to add to the books. The Spirit Society. It gives off a decent vibe. It makes well for good background music, if that kind of makes sense. It's not too distracting, but it really, again, doesn't do anything too special. C tier. Spirit. Another OST connected to the Spirit Society banner. In this case, there isn't really much of a song. It's more so just ambient background noise, which is what they were going for. In this case, though, it's nothing really I would ever want to listen to. There's almost nothing to listen to. It's kind of annoying to listen to. Because of that, D tier. Latent Arousal. Very similar to a lot of OSTs, one that I kind of put in D tier because it was quite generic. In this case, again, I like it. There's nothing else I can say really that can describe Latent Arousal, but I think it's quite a fun OST. It does work quite well as background music when you are playing the game. Once more, not really too distracting. B tier. Raiding. Maybe it's because I've heard this one quite a bit. Again, not to say it's a bad one, but I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I believe this plays during Epic Raids, and I've played a lot of Epic Raids in my 7 years of playing Bleach Brave Souls, so I think it's quite generic at this point. D tier. Piora Exintia. This is the first OST that we did get for the Calm for Your World collaboration, more so tied to the Espadas with their alternate forms. I personally think this is a massive vibe. It's really exciting to listen to. It's fun. It's definitely memorable. So because of that, A tier. Loud Spirits. Now, I might have mentioned along the way that some OSTs kind of fit the theming of BBS but are quite generic. And most of that generic isms come from this song, Loud Spirit. Loud Spirit is a song that I believe they play quite a bit in a lot of different trailers for the game Bleach Brave Souls, and it's quite clear why, because it's just perfect for both Bleach and the game BBS. This is one of those OSTs that I'll listen to off and on BBS, and at the same time, it also works quite well as background music. So because of that, and because it's just a perfect OST for any type of Bleach trailer, S tier. Brand New Minds. Once more, another OST that just perfectly encapsulates both Bleach and also Bleach Brave Souls. If you've been a long-time viewer of the channel, you might have already realized that this is the OST that I do use a lot of times, because again, it just makes for almost perfect background noise and also game noise for the most part. Whenever you're playing Bleach Brave Souls, this is a good OST to listen to. It never is moody, it's hype, it's getting me excited again to play the game. It's also once more just perfect OST for a lot of different trailers, and it's a good vibe. So because of that, once more, surprisingly, it's also another S tier. Illumina El Mundo. This is a decent vibe. I think it's a decent song. It's, again, just background noise for the most part, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Not to say it's bad, I just don't really have too much of an opinion on this one, if that kind of makes sense. So, because of that, D tier. Alternate Game. I'm a massive fan of this particular OST. This was around the time I believe Come For You Old Noitora came out. Maybe it was even Aaroniero's banner, or even Tokinada's. Not entirely too sure, but it is definitely connected to the Come For You Old banners that we did get back in like 2018, 2019. In this case, this is just a really cool electronic type of dubstep song. I'm a fan of it. I like it as background music. I like listening to it in general. So because of that, A tier. Camino. Once more, another banger OST coming from the Cornfield collaboration. In this case, this is kind of like a worse version of the song that we're about to talk about next, but it does again make for good background noise. I like it. I was always a fan of it when it did play in the game itself. So because of that, I'm gonna say a B tier. Vice. This right here has to be one of the best OST/music in the game Bleach Brave Souls. It's an instant S tier, you shouldn't be surprised at that. This one right here was introduced alongside Tokinada, also Hannibal and Barragan, but more so Tokinada. This right here is the Tokinada music, and it's just perfect. It's hype, it's a vibe, it's exciting, and it's just pleasing to listen to. The dubstep, the beat drop, it goes crazy, and I love the enchanting in the backgrounds. Everything in this OST is just perfect, instant, and solidified itself in S tier. Pushing the Limits. Celebrating the 4th anniversary, we did get this OST, Pushing the Limits, and the OST just makes sense. It's the perfect type of song to surpass your limit. And this OST, of course, was tied to the 4th anniversary Mugetsu and also Full Hollow. The first start of it, before the beat does drop, it's kind of just an A tier song in my opinion. It does make for good background music though, I will say. Similar to the likes of Brand New Mind and Loud Spirit, who I also put in S tier. But what really solidifies the song as an S tier OST is quite frankly the drop. The drop is just perfect, and it just goes so well with the trailer they did make of it. It's a really good drop, and it kind of makes you feel satisfied when it does drop, as you just push your limit. Easily an S tier OST. Fates. So Fate is just kind of an okay OST. This was designed for the Soul Palace or Soul King's Palace. It was obviously with the introduction of Squad Zero. It's a very cool OST alongside with the background itself, but as an OST by itself, I don't really have the biggest opinions of it. It's okay, so because of that, B tier. Everyday Life. This one is a straight vibe. There's nothing really special about this. I don't think it's even connected to a collaboration or an anniversary. It's just a random OST in game, but like I said, it's an absolute vibe. You can listen to this for potentially an hour and still just do other things. Again, makes for good background music, but at the same time, it's just a absolute vibe to listen to. So because of that, B tier. Each War. With this OST, we got our first look at the Squad Zero characters, and I believe that's the only time they ever really played this for the game, only for the 1000 Year Blood War Squad Zero trailers, so it only happened twice. So we haven't really had a lot of time to like actually listen to this, so it hasn't felt boring when listening to it. I like the vibe of it, it's fast-paced, and I also just like the connection it has to Squad Zero. It ends quite well, it ends in a climatic way. I think it's an A-tier song. Steam Chronicle. This definitely fits the vibe of Machine Society, but personally, I'm not really the biggest fan of this one. D tier. Uncovered Truths. This was a pretty good OST. I definitely do like the use of it in trailers, more so with like Beyond Bankai Shinji's reveal and stuff like that. More so with Beyond Bankai Shinji's reveal, but I will say like near the end of the OST in the start, I'm not really the biggest fan of, and that definitely did drop it down quite a bit, but I do think the drop is quite good, and that definitely does save the song in my opinion. So because of that, once more, I'm going to put it in A tier. Twilight OASIS. This is an OST that is connected to the Desert Society event. I'm not really the biggest fan of this one. I think it makes for a decent background noise, but I hate the heat. And this just reminds me of being in a desert, so detail. Thinking Time. This is one of the goofy OSTs, more so for like a con or comedic moment in the story. Doesn't really do anything for me. For background music, I would never basically put this as that, so detail. Never. 5th anniversary version. Once more, another example of KLab going out their way to commission artists to make music for their game. In this case, this isn't actually a remix, it's an actual song for the 5th anniversary. So because of that, it already makes itself stand out compared to the rest of these songs / OSTs that we have in this game. But this is an absolute banger. I've listened to this multiple times. I'm a massive fan of Lion Chameleon. So because of that, easily an S tier song. Arousal, 5th anniversary remix. Now, I'm not entirely sure who remixed this, maybe it was KLab's team themselves, but once more, an absolute banger. Perfect background music for the game, but I feel like it's missing something that would take it into a higher tier above. So because of that, only A tier. I cannot pronounce this word, but it does translate to ruthlessness. So there you go. This OST is best described as the Quincy OST. This is when we first started to get our first look at Stern Rated, and it just perfectly encapsulates those type of characters or factions in the universe that is Bleach. In my opinion, this is an absolute bop. The heavy dubstep, the drop itself is an absolute headbanger. Easily, once more, an S tier song. Resolution. Hence the name, Resolution is an OST that is best described as just beautiful. In my opinion, this song is just a perfect example of an ending, and everything is going to have an ending. In this case, this was the end of Can't View Worlds. Not really, because we had 2 more rounds, but it was for the climatic battle, which was Shuhei versus Ikone. And like I said, the best way to describe this is just beautiful. It's calming, it's relaxing, it makes you feel relaxed along the way, and when the song finally drops with its climactic finish, you just can't help but feel satisfied that the journey you made to get here was worth it. Far Eastern Dream. Again, not a fan of this one, no idea why, I just think it's okay. D tier. Ordinary. This was the introduction for the Burn the Witch collaboration. And Burn the Witch, as you all are aware if you have seen the series itself, is full of life and an absolute vibe to listen to. The song itself, the character design are just absolutely pleasing to look like. And this OST specifically designed for the Burn the Witch collaboration just perfectly matches the vibe that is Burn the Witch. So I feel like KLab did a very good job with this. And I think the song itself is just perfect. It's a vibe to listen to, it's exciting, and I think it just really pleases my ears in particular. S tier. Working. This came alongside the characters Nini and Noah when we first got our Burn the Witch collaboration, but it's more so connected to the Bruno character. As round 2 did come out, this was the theme song that played with him. In my opinion, the song starts off quite slow, and I think it's kind of an okay song, but the beat drop in this particular song really does carry it to a higher tier. So A tier. 0. Once more, Lion and Chameleon are back. Not only did they do the 5th anniversary song and absolutely banged that out of the park, this time they are back to do the second opening for Bleach Brave Souls, more so the TLA arc. Now in this case, they also, again, did a very good job. Now in-game you can only listen to the instrumental, but I think both are going to be here. Both instrumental and the song itself is an absolute banger. I'm a massive fan of Lion Chameleon, so most of the work they do put out there I'm a fan of. So because of that, again, once more, S tier. The Crimson Swords Ballads version. Signifying the end of the 1000 Year Blood War collaboration in Bleach Brave Souls. Of course, we are going to be getting more characters soon once the anime does start to air, but with this song, this was the ending. And a perfect way to solidify the ending was to remix the song we all know of, the Crimson Swords, the song that they played, in my opinion, overplayed quite a bit for the 1000 Year Blood War collaboration. Along with this OST, we did get the new 1000 Year Blood War 10 years later versions of Ryuk and Ichigo, and I think the song is just really good. Again, I think the original song is an S tier song, and in this case, I feel like they made the song even better. S tier. Daybreak. There's a lot of OSTs in this game tied to the character Don Kanoji that is just supposed to be fun and energetic, superhero-like. In this case, this is the perfect example of that. Starting off the Spirits RFA collaboration with this OST alongside Don Kanoji just can't help you but be excited for this particular character. Don Kanoji, especially the one in-game, is a very fun character to play around with his visuals and character design, and this OST just goes along with that perfectly. I use this song a lot in summon videos because I feel like the drop itself is also quite good, and you just can't help be excited when listening to this song. Despite me really wanting to put this in S tier, I'm gonna put it at the top of A. With You. It's somewhat of a slow-paced song, again also tied to the Spirits Arthur collaboration. It does make for decent background music, but more so background music when you're reading a text or dialogue. Not so much what you really want to listen to when actually playing the game. More so background music for when you're actually reading the story in-game, and that's why you do hear this particular song. Very rarely would you ever turn this on while actually playing the game. So because of that, I'm gonna put it in C tier. Sprint/Spirit. Another Don Kanoji related OST. Again, most of these just sound okay. They do a worse job than Daybreak, which we did put in a high tier. In this case, I feel like it's just a worse version, so C tier. Unknown. The OST that introduced the triple Kenpachi banner. Kenpachi Zaraki, Azashiro, and also Kurishiki. In this case, this is a pretty high-energy, masculine type of song. That's the best way I can describe this. It just makes me feel like I'm ready for battle, and it's the perfect song to encapsulate the Kenpachi type of character. In my opinion, it has a pretty good drop. The bass itself is actually really good. The beat itself is great. Perfect background music. Works great in the trailer. A tier. Connect Area and Connect End. So both of these songs here play when you're playing the arena game mode. I like the OST. I do like it. I don't think it's anything too special though. I don't dislike it, but it is kind of an exciting song that goes with the arena game mode itself when you are having those close type of games. I think it's perfect background music, but I don't think it does anything super special. It's not something that I would constantly listen to off and on game, outside of basically arena. So because of that, I'm just gonna put it in B tier. Excelling. 6. Anniversary Aizen. This anniversary was exciting for many reasons. Not only did we get the long-awaited version of Anniversary Aizen, something that we were calling for many years, pretty much one of the most exciting times to be a Bleach Brave Souls player. Alongside that very overpowered and exciting character, we also got this absolute bop of a song. This song perfectly once more encapsulates the character that is the Anniversary Aizen. I absolutely adore this song. It's exciting to listen to, it's fun to listen to, the bass drop itself is also really good, but what I really like about this, which is the icing on the cake, is the start, making you feel like this is a villain, this is the final villain, the character's powering up, and then also the enchanting in the background is just perfect with the character. If you saw the trailer was also perfect, and this song is just one of, if not the best OSTs in the entire game. Easily an S tier OST. Soul Into. Getting our first look at Beyond Bankai characters with this particular OST, it's the perfect song to go alongside it. Not only are the characters getting stronger, the song itself feels like you're getting stronger just by listening to it. It's a fun, it's a high beat song, I'm a fan of it. However, the reason why it's not in the highest tier is simply because I feel like they kind of fumbled a bit on the drop. The drop itself was good, but I feel like it could have been a bit more exciting. So because of that, I'm only going to put in A tier. Another Dimension. Another pretty exciting Bleach Brave Souls song that kind of just makes perfect background music in both videos, in-game, and also for trailers. I believe they have used this quite a bit. It's a good song. I just think it's missing something a tad bit extra to be in a higher tier. So because of that, again, only A tier. Realize. Not entirely sure what this music is supposed to be. I think the best way to describe it once more is just something that you listen to while reading text in-game or reading the story in-game. I don't think this makes for good background music in both videos, games, or trailers, so because of that, I just think it's kind of mediocre. Not to say it's bad, it's just kind of generic for the most part. D tier. Idea. This is quite a sad and slow song. Not really a fan of that when I am playing games. Once more, this is a soundtrack or OST that will play when you're reading text in game, assuming when a sad moment happens, which makes sense when it's there, but normally this really doesn't do anything for me. D tier. Twinkling Branches. Celebrating Christmas a tad bit earlier with the Burn the Witch celebration, we got this absolute bop of an OST. I think, even though it's only background music, despite it being quite simple, it's an absolute vibe. You could listen to this for hours while studying. I'm surprisingly going to go with S tier. Fortune Lamp. Can't really remember when this actually did play, but I'm not a big fan of it. C tier. Relaxation. The newest take on a soundtrack for a swimsuit banner. This was the most recent OST that we did get in game that you can listen to right now. If you're playing, this should be the background that you do see with the music. It's a good song. I like it. It definitely does make you feel relaxed, which is what it's supposed to be doing. But for me personally, background music, I want to get excited. And this one really doesn't do much outside of just making me relaxed, which is what it's supposed to do. So at that point, it's doing good. But personally for me, just a C tier soundtrack. Resounding Prize. Now, recency bias definitely might be at play here, but in my opinion, this is debatably one of, if not again, the best soundtracks in the game Bleach Brave Souls. This is obviously celebrating the 7th anniversary characters, and it's perfect. Since this has been announced, since it was shown off in-game and also on the Trailer Bunker livestream, I've been listening to this non-stop, and I've not gotten bored of it a single time. Of course, it's still the newest song of the 2050 plus that we have ranked, but I think this is just perfect. The vocalist, Zine, if I'm saying her name right, just did an absolutely amazing job. The bass guitar, the entire song itself is just amazing. It makes me get hyped up for the 7th anniversary, which will be happening in less than 40 hours. So because of that, easily an S tier. Now, because I didn't rank them in order, keep that in mind, I still think this is definitely one of the better ones. I would say top 3 for me, if you were wanting and made it to the end, a little surprise. 1 would be Resounding Pride, 2 would be Excelling, and 3 would be Resolution. Those are my 3 favorite OSTs in the entire game, and I could listen to them non-stop. With that said though, lads, that was the video for today, ranking majority of the OSTs in Bleach Brave Souls. We did miss out on a few, but some of them were just very simple and would have just simply been in C and D tier, so I didn't bother ranking some of those extra ones. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. In the comments below, once more, let me know your favorite OSTs in Bleach Brave Souls. We have a lot of good ones, and let me know if you disagree or agree with any of my placements. Here is the full list. It's been on the screen for a couple seconds now. But yeah, this was a fun video to make. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.